So 3 things to get meetings sharper. And I think at least 3 things. There's probably many. But here we are, Abhijit, you and I are together here on this Monday, the 10th of March. March already. And many meetings have happened, I think, between us and between you who are watching until this 10th of March. And we are coming here because we want to suggest how we can use coaching skills to make our meetings better. And there are many ways, aren't there? So, and many ways, by the way, how meetings can fall apart. Hey, what typically happens, Abhijit? Why do meetings often go off the rails, in your opinion, in your experience?
Yeah, because I would say they jump from one topic to another, lose focus, and end without any action items.
That's right. And that's exactly the things. It's so normal. It's so common sense, but common sense is not automatically common practice, isn't it? That's something I realized a lot. And I've done my poor share in the past in running poor meetings. But I realized how when I learned professional level coaching skills since 2018, I automatically became better in handling meetings. And it's really, when I go into meetings with people, often they say they loved how structured their meetings are. And here we want to share why that is the case. And we are using professional level coaching skills. And 3 things that we can do, that everybody can do, you don't need to learn coaching, to do better in this area. And number 1 here is simply agree on the goal of the meeting. Well, that sounds completely common sense. But what often happens is that people agree on the goal of the topic and move on. So, and it sounds like this. Hey, Abhijit, so thanks for meeting here. 30 minutes. Yeah, so we are here because we want to win our customer back. So shall we get started? Let's talk about that now. So I have the following things that I really need to talk about, blah, blah, blah. What did we just do, Abhijit?
Yeah, just agreed on the topic, but did not agree on the outcome of the meeting.
Yeah, we agreed on the topic. The topic is we want to win that customer back. Fair enough. That's the goal of the topic. And that's where often meetings already derail. That agreement is there, but we actually haven't agreed on the goal of the conversation. And how might that sound different? It's an additional thing here, isn't it? And instead of saying just, goal of we want to win that customer back, so shall we get started? No. So given that our goal is to win that customer back, Abhijit, and we have 30 minutes, what can we achieve right now in the time that we have in respect to that? And that is very different, because where is your thinking now going to, Abhijit?
Yeah, and it'll be very specific. For example, how can we reduce the dissatisfaction scores from customers to retain them?
Yes, that's right. It's something more precise. We're suddenly spending relevant time in taking a cloud of potential things and turning them into something specific. And that's so often overlooked. And it feels so normal to just run off. So we are here. So this is our meeting because we have to work on the new project milestones. So let's get started here. Let's open our Excel sheet. Okay, but so what exactly do we need to get done here today? And that leads us, by the way, to number 2. Because agreeing on the goal of the conversation is good. Let's say we want to understand the number 2 reasons why that customer has left us. Okay, let's say this is the goal of the conversation we want to achieve. You want to understand these 2 reasons. And number 2, we want to agree on a measure of success. So that's a way of sharpening that goal. And that's something which is rarely ever done. But in coaching helps a lot. And a great question here is to say, okay, so we want to know these 2, probably the 2 top reasons. We want to explore those 2 top reasons why the customer didn't come back to us. So Abhijit, what would we then have by the end of our meeting here? What might be, where does your thinking then go?
Yeah, maybe ways if we have figured out a way to follow up with the customer, or if we have figured out a way to give a freebie to the customer.
Yeah, I like that. So it leads to something tangible typically. And that's the benefit of that. And people love tangible stuff. So that's why we often like to ask people, there are two typical ways to ask this in coaching. So how would you know by the end of the meeting that we have achieved our goal? That's good. Very often in organizations, we love tangible stuff, and we can simply ask, what do we need to have by the end of the meeting? And people like that. It helps us think into something very concrete, like, yeah, we have an email, we have a list of action items, we have, as you said, a way to win them back. Right? And when we have these two things together, it forms a really strong meeting outcome. Right? So it really that was not an agreed meeting outcome, by the way. Wrong buttons pressed here. Thanks, Abhijit, for holding the fort here. Wrong buttons pressed. So somehow moved me out. Here we go. Hold on a moment. Can you still see me?
Yes, I can see you. I can hear you fine, Mike.
Okay. Okay, good. Somehow, hold on. Here we go. So we want to agree on the measures of success. When we have these two things, a goal of the actual conversation and the measure of success, we're already doing much better. And why? Because at the end of the meeting, what can we do, Abhijit, typically, when we have these two things?
Yeah. And once we have that, it's very easy for us to turn it into an action item and know what's exactly happening outside of that meeting.
Yes. And we can understand how successful the meeting was. That's the second thing. We can really go back to, hey, so our agreed conversation goal was to get 2 items, and we wanted to have one way to win that client back. Do we have that? It's a good close question. So it gives this meeting a nice frame, and coaching conversations are always well framed. But that's one last bonus thing here that we can do. And in coaching, that helps a lot. Emphasize why is it so important to do exactly that? And a great question could be, hey, Abhijit, before we dive in, I know we have a conversation goal. I wonder what makes it exactly the right thing to do right now, and to come up with one item to win them back. What makes that the most important thing for us to cover right now? Right. So in terms of that client, where does that lead us, Abhijit, if I ask you that kind of question?
Yeah. It automatically, in my mind, makes me see through that is, if this is the most important thing that we should talk about right now. And maybe my response in this scenario will be, well, this customer is important for us because they've been with us for the last 7 years, and we can't lose them because this is all about retaining this customer.
Yeah, thank you. And even in that example that you gave here, it shows that this takes us to a second level goal and often an emotional goal. And that's what makes this so strong and useful. And all this doesn't have to take so long, but if you do this, it's a great investment. It often saves you time. It saves you time because your meeting stays on track. The hidden cost of not doing that is what? You have to redo your meeting, or you have to extend your meeting, and you realize afterwards, hey, what we talked about was, I think we went off the rails. And that's where this is such a beautiful example to me, where I always observe coaches, professional coaches, or leaders who learn these skills. They just run better, sharper meetings. And they come out of this course noticing also, that's the second thing, is that people tell me, after our training, Mike, I noticed that I realize very fast when meetings are off the rails. And I bring them more back much faster. So I find that really fascinating. So any final thoughts from you, Abhijit, on these three markers here of coaching skills?
Yeah, no, I think it helps us stay sharp and it helps us achieve what is the most important thing to achieve. So yeah, I would say just agree on the meaning of the goal and all these other steps.
Yeah. Thank you. And hope this found your interest too if you watched this live or on tape. So this is one of those core things that are easy to overlook in coach training. And by the way, what we've just discussed is one of the hardest things to actually learn as part of coaching. This is one of the coaching skills where the gap between common sense and common practice is the widest. And Abhijit and I always have fun in teaching this because it's such an aha moment. And here we are on this Monday, the 10th of March, just after lunch here in Singapore. So we're done with our 10 to 11 minutes and want to wish you all well in this new week and hope you all have very productive meetings wherever you are in the world right now. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.